Hey y'all, it's y'all favorite cozy girl, Chi the Reality Queen, and I am back again with another episode of Robe Chronicles. Tonight we're going to be talking about Summer House, Martha's Vineyard. And honestly, we are on episode 4, and I feel like I don't know if they planned for the show to be like this, but it's always ending on a little cliffhanger. Like, I'm like, can we just end a show on a solid note? But that doesn't take away from the show. I absolutely love it. Um, this episode starts out with them trying to figure out what's going on with Nick because Nick is talking about he's had a girlfriend. And everybody's shocked because Nick was in the DMs of Bria, Shanice, and Jordan being extremely flirty. And everybody's just kind of confused. So he's like, yeah, I've had a girlfriend. We've been together for a while. And he's like answering. And, when he's talking to production, he tells everybody about like his girlfriend. They show pictures. She's very beautiful. But that doesn't change the fact that Nick was very weird about this, right? Like, if you have a girlfriend, why are you in other women's DMs? Not like friendly, because he keeps calling it friendly, but he was absolutely flirty. Like, he crossed that line of friendly and hit over to flirty with some of those comments. I don't know about the ones to Bria, but the ones to Jordan and Shanice were definitely over the line. So yeah, I thought it was very weird. Not very straightforward. I mean, I have my thoughts on why he did it, and I think everybody also has their thoughts on why he did it. So the next morning, the guys and girls work out separately. And when I say work out, the women went for a walk with mimosas, and the guys actually did a hard workout. And I'm just going to say that it's funny because people keep calling Silas controlling, but I didn't realize that his controlling nature, like, also went over his friends too, because the way he treated Preston in that workout, like, Preston is trying, he's not as fit as you, he's working out, and you stressing him. Bruh. He did not pay you to be his personal trainer. He just wants you to accept him in this workout. Like, he gonna do what he can do, and what he can't do, he's not gonna do. So the fact that they were stressing my boy Press on this workout, I didn't like it. I was like, he doesn't pay you. He's like, oh, that's my LB. Like, shut up. Okay. Shut up. I was so like over it. And then after they have a conversation about, men buying drinks, Silas is like, oh, did you think that I was like doing too much? And everybody was like, yes, you're doing too much. And I think it's interesting actually that the group of men are more against that. Like, because I feel like I've seen a lot of men where they have a problem with that. And so Silas, I didn't like it, but it wasn't weird because that's what I see. Most men have a reaction, but all the other men were like, you're tripping, bro. Tripping. Especially because they kind of look at it like she has all her girls with her. Like, she's supposed to be the only one that doesn't get drinks because she got a man. Like, you sound crazy. Um, and then the girls on the flip side are talking about, and the guys talk about Nick admitting that he has a girlfriend. Silas is shocked. On the other side, the girls are also talking about Nick telling everybody he has a girlfriend. And Jasmine is shocked, like, wait, what? And then Shanice says something that, which is what I thought, is that he was trying to see if any of the girls were interested in him. And when he met them and they were not, then he's like, oh, okay, well, I have a girlfriend. And it's like, I'm not saying that you don't have this girlfriend. I'm not saying that you don't like this girlfriend, but you were probably willing to cheat on this girlfriend if these women wanted you. But because these women didn't want you, you're like, oh, I have a girlfriend. So you don't feel bad that nobody wants you because you got a girl. And that's what I think he was looking at. Like, if I have a girl, then who cares if these girls want me or not? And don't get me wrong, a very beautiful girl at that. When they showed the pictures, I was like, okay, wow, she's cute. Because I personally think, and this isn't to say that I think Nick is ugly, so please don't mistake that, because I don't think that, but he reminds me of Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. Yes, that's what I see. When I see him, I see Mr. Burns. And I would put a little screenshot here, but I don't want no issues on YouTube. But that's what he reminds me of. But I don't think he's ugly. So I know I'm not here to say, I don't know if that means that I think Mr. Burns is handsome or not, but I don't think he's ugly. I just think he reminds me of Mr. Burns. So yeah, anyways, everybody goes back. They chill by the pool. Jordan has a brief conversation with Alex, and she's like, well, I kind of don't know how he feels about me. Like, he makes little, like, jokes, I guess maybe sexual. She's like, but I don't know what he's thinking. And I kind of feel, and I hope this doesn't sound bad, that Alex is really boring. And I don't know if maybe he wants to present himself in a certain light. And I understand that because you're on camera, you don't want your family to be ashamed of you, all of that. But I just find him to be boring. Like, I feel like his character, we can do without. I mean, we're only 4 episodes in. We'll see what he comes with. But for now, I'm like, you're boring. And I'm not saying everybody has to drink to have fun or eat meat or any of those things, but he's just so blah. Anyway, so then the guys are playing beer pong, and Nick and Silas are playing, and Nick is like, let me see. He asked Silas, like, do you think you're controlling? Like, I don't know how he worded it, but he basically asked him that. And Silas is like, I think that it can look like I am, but I'm not. And I'm like, okay. Like, I don't know their relationship, and we only get to see bits and pieces. But if all those people who are there in the house look at them and feel like he's very controlling, right? Mind you, they're with them 24/7 because they're in this house together. And everybody seems to think that. Maybe, Silas, you're a wee bit controlling. I think it, but I'm only seeing edited, clips of them together. So they can obviously pump it up and show us the most controlling clips. But I'm just like, I think he must be controlling. I'm convinced he is, because all those people in the house all feel it and feel that energy coming off of him. And so I'm like, it has to be true to some extent. And then Silas in his little confession was like, well, I'm not taking marriage advice from anybody with a secret girlfriend. And it's like, because I'm not saying, I think single people can give marriage advice, right? Or previously married people. I actually think anybody could give anybody advice about anything, even if they're not doing it physically, because you know how they say, like, people who can do, people who can't teach, or whatever the saying is, like, you know what I mean? So I am not a person who thinks like, oh, you have to be married to give marriage advice. Like, some stuff is common sense, right? You can't give parenting advice unless you're a parent. Yes, I understand that you have to experience certain things, but at the same time, some stuff is common sense, right? Or so I would think. And then Bria, Preston, and Amir are talking in the kitchen, and I don't know if my ears turned off during that scene, but all of a sudden Amir was crying, and I was like, did I miss something? Like, I had no idea what his tears were for. Like, I don't know if I couldn't hear it. I rewinded it. I still didn't really know what was going on. I feel like he was crying. I don't know, and I don't want to mistake it, but despite not knowing what he was crying for, it's good to see that Amir is a vulnerable guy that can, be in touch enough with his feelings to cry over whatever it was he was crying for. But I think that, but it does go to show, because, sometimes crying it shows that you're vulnerable, and they are pretty much strangers. So for him to feel comfortable crying in front of Bria and Preston shows that he does have a level of comfortability with these people, and he doesn't really know them, right? He's the outsider. I think he knows Nick or he knows Alex, but he doesn't really know everybody else personally. So for him to cry, I thought it was kind of interesting. I still don't know exactly. It's something about a personal growth, I'm sure, within him, but and I like I said, I rewinded it. I still, if you know, comment, let me know. Anyway, so then they're having dinner, and Jasmine brings up the fact that Nick has this girlfriend. And it's funny because she's like, I feel like I have to, like, address you or give you a different respect or whatever. She's like, I brought all these people together thinking that we're going to get like, I guess couples and stuff. And I think she thought she was going to get people in the house who were going to hook up, but it's kind of weird. And it's true. If you have Bria has a boyfriend, Nick has a girlfriend, like who's going to hook up in this summer house? Like if everybody's taken, I don't know. It to me, I think Bria shouldn't be there. Nick shouldn't be there. I actually kind of like Nick. Surprisingly, I thought I wasn't going to like him, but he's actually a character that I've grown to like on this series. But what's funny is because when they bring up his girlfriend, everybody's kind of like, weren't you calling Shanice your wife and saying y'all was going to be together? He was like, I never said that. Let me tell you, you can always know, men lie. Okay, let's just start there. Men lie. People lie, but men lie. And it was so obviously that he was lying. And I am so thankful for these Summer House producers because they was putting his feet to the fire. They were like, well, everybody seems to think that this happened. Are you sure it didn't happen? He's like, no, where's the evidence? Yes, because it wasn't on camera. But the producers was like, everybody else heard it. How come you don't remember? And I think they asked him a very specific question. And you know what happened? He was silent. He had nothing to say. Because you know what? He's lying. He probably did say it. He did want Shanice. He did want Jordan. He wanted one of them. And he was hoping he was going to get one of them. And when neither of them wanted them, he's like, oh, I have a girlfriend. I have a girlfriend. I have a girlfriend. No. I'm sorry to that girlfriend because your man cheats. If you didn't know, your man cheats. If somebody wants him, he will cheat. If nobody wants him, then he'll be faithful. That's just the way it seems. He's like, oh, she doesn't want us on Instagram. She doesn't want us to post stuff. And honestly, baby, she might cheat too. Maybe she don't know they together. I've seen it. She might not know. She might think that they talking and they enjoying each other's company, but she might not know that they are together like that. Who knows? We'll see. And it's funny because even Alex was like, I knew he had a girlfriend. I just didn't know it was that serious or whatever. And honestly, that's just Alex talking about his friend in a manner in which he doesn't want to put him out or expose him because that's his friend and he's not going to expose his friend, right? Because that's your boy, right? But he answered production's question in a manner that, that he gave them an answer, but he did not want to expose his friend. But yeah, so then Bria that night texts Jasmine like, oh, can't wait for Simon to come. I'm so excited he's going to be here for a whole week. And Jasmine's like, girl, what do you mean he's going to be here for a whole week? Like, she didn't say that, but she was just kind of like, oh, maybe we need to talk about this and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm a little confused at this point because her and Silas are acting like they don't know what's going on. But we all just watched episode 2 or 3 in which at the bowling alley, they agreed because he's coming from Germany that he should be able to stay 1 week. So I'm kind of like, what are they talking about? Because this is weird, right? Then the next day, I think it's weird because Bria's like, oh, Jasmine, let's talk. And she's acting like she don't remember. Like I said, she's like, did we agree? Like, I don't know. And Bria's like, you definitely agreed because he's flying in from Germany. And it's going to be weird for him to just stay 3 days. Now, my concession is like, why doesn't he just stay in a hotel? Are there no other Airbnbs or hotels or anywhere near Summer House? Like, he could stay 3 days in the house and then he can stay somewhere else for the rest of the time. You know what I mean? Like, why couldn't that be said? Like, they're acting like if he stays 3 days, then he has to get back on a plane and go to Germany. Like, I'm sure when they kicked Phil out of the house and they kicked Mariah, well, Mariah left the next day, but when they kicked Phil out of the house, they didn't put him on a flight back that night. It was late. So they had to have put him in a hotel. So I'm sure Simon could stay in a hotel and come enjoy whatever activities that they have for the day. I don't know. It was weird. And again, production came through with the facts, was like, you don't remember? playing back the clip and everything. And she was like, we definitely did not say that. But now I'm like, what I didn't realize is that they were drunk when they were talking to her. So not that they didn't agree, because they absolutely did. But if they agreed while drunk, then maybe they don't remember the conversation that well. They should ask Preston, because he was definitely standing right there when that conversation happened. So I was like, is anybody going to call in Preston and ask him what he heard? Because he obviously was there. Then they're talking about like, well, it needs to be okayed with the house, is what Jasmine tells Bria. And I'm thinking that the house won't have an issue because, you know, whatever. It's her man. He's staying in her room, not like he's trying to get his own room. Then Bria goes and makes a call to Shanice because she's leaving, because she's only in the house for the weekends because she has to work. And it's funny because I'm thinking she's calling to complain about Jasmine, but she calls to tell Shanice that Alex was talking about her and what he heard about her and her being a stalker. And I'm kind of like, although it might have happened or it didn't happen, I don't know. But I feel like Alex should have just brought that up to Shanice. Like, I heard this. Is it true? Is it not true? Is you a stalker? I mean, she's not going to admit it either way, but at least she knows that conversation is out in the open of what people are saying about her. But then they all go fishing that day, and that looked like fun. Like, I have been fishing before, not the way they went fishing. I didn't catch any fish. I broke my fishing pole. It was really a traumatic experience, honestly. I'm not a fish person. But that actually looked fun. They actually looked like it was like there was fish to be caught in those waters. And then at the end of the fishing, Amir's like, oh, okay, question. Does everybody want their fish grilled or fried? He looking at a group of Black folks and asking if they want their fish grilled or fried. The only other person that would probably want it grilled, Alex, is actually a vegan. So he's not even going to eat the fish anyway. But all the rest of them people, they want fried fish, bro. Quit playing in their face. I was like, and everybody was like, what are you talking about? They get back and, they clean the fish, whatever, and Amir starts cooking it, which I kind of think is dope that Amir is that good of a cook. And Preston makes mac and cheese pretty bomb because I've seen it twice and it looks fire. Then they get their 2 new guests. Summer comes to the house and Jason comes to the house. Summer is a fellow screenwriter. She knows Jasmine, and Jason used to be Jasmine's old roommate. And so they bring 2 people probably to replace Phil and Mariah. And it's funny because as soon as Summer walks in, everybody's like, oh, she's giving Hillary Banks vibes. And when Nick asked production if they knew who Hillary Banks was and they said no, I was like, damn, they got the wrong production on this show. How do you have a show with all Black cast and production don't know who Black folks and Black characters are? Like, I know it's Bravo, but like, y'all should have... Is this what they do for Real Housewives of Potomac and Real Housewives of Atlanta? Do they have people that know nothing about Black culture working on the show? It seems to me that's probably why they want Bria around and to bring Simon, because they're looking for a white relief. But anyway, Silas says they're having a toga night, and it's supposed to be like a reminiscent of college days and whatever, and that the 2 Greeks are gonna like run it. And it's like Kappas versus Alphas. And Hillary's like, oh, I was in a sorority till I got kicked out. And they were all like, how did you get kicked out? Because, Black sororities, fraternities, to get kicked out, it is tough. It's not like easy. You can't just be like, oh, we're kicking you out. But then she's like, oh, I was part of Alpha Phi. And they were like, oh, okay. And then they just pushed it over like, girl, that ain't nothing. But yeah, so she was a sorority girl, formerly. But yeah, so they want to have this toga night, and I guess Jordan, her dad and her grandfather and all her family were like Omegas, so she has she calls it a horseshoe, but it's an Omega, and she has it on on her arm, and it has her dad and her grandfather's initials, which I thought was so cute. But yeah, so anyways, the new people are in the house. They're going around doing tours. Everybody's, getting ready for the toga night. Silas and Bria have a conversation because she's like, well, if Jasmine's tripping, let me see if I can talk to Silas about my man coming. So they go and they have a conversation, and he's like, I just don't think a week is right for him to stay, because he's not a house member. And she's like, I feel like you're saying this because he's white. Girl, what? Like, it was so random. And then she's like, well, because you were saying before that you think Black women should be married to Black men. And production once again came with the receipts and proved that that's not what he said. He said, I want Black women to be married. Period, point blank, end of statement. But then he said, but I would prefer if they were married to Black men. And even Jordan was like, yeah, it's just easier because sometimes culturally things are easier if you're marrying someone of your culture. So it's not even just Black and Black, but sometimes it's like Ghanaian and Ghanaian, or South African and South African, because sometimes there's culturally things that you understand, or Mexican and Mexican. Not saying a Mexican could marry an Argentinian, but maybe as two Mexicans, they would probably understand culturally stuff better. So I think that that's what Silas was trying to get at, but Bria took it the wrong way. I find her to be an insufferable little brat. Personally, I feel like maybe she's cool outside this house, but she's very bratty, argumentative. Like, she has argued with multiple people, and somehow the people keep getting kicked out and not her. Like, girl, bye. And she's like, well, I'm leaving. If you guys don't want my man here for a week, I'm going. I'm packing my stuff up. I'm leaving. This is about the third time she said this. Girl, pack your shit and leave. Like, how many times you gonna threaten people with a good time? Go, bye. Then they don't have to worry about your man coming. And so, to me, I'm just like, this is silly. Like, why are you fighting over him staying? And then they show Amir talking, I think it's right then, and he's like, 3 days? Yeah, but a week, that's a long time for a guest. And that's true. He's pretty much staying more time than Shanice, because Shanice is only there on the weekends. So if she's only there on the weekends and he's there for a week, he spent more time in the house than an actual member of the house. No, he's got to go. And he could just stay, like I said earlier, in a hotel close by or another Airbnb. It really made no sense why. I mean, it doesn't make any sense why he would want to stay a week. Like, no, he absolutely shouldn't fly from Germany for 3 days. Like, it's crazy. That is such a long flight for such a short amount of time. Or you don't have to come at all. You're only gone for 2 weeks. I mean, let's talk about that, right? Like, it's only 15 days. So why doesn't he just not come at all? But that obviously wasn't an option for her. So why doesn't he just stay 3 days in the house and then stay the rest of the week at a hotel and just come join you guys for events? Doesn't really make any sense. But either way, she's crying, being a baby about it. She want to pack up and leave. I think she should pack up and leave, but everybody goes and gets ready for the toga night. The fried fish gets cooked. Everything actually looks delicious. Every time they've cooked, the food has looked immaculate. I don't even eat fish, but that fried fish looked like something I would eat. But yeah, so every time it always looks good, and they're all there, and then they start eating dinner, and I think Alex or Nick comes in and is like, why isn't everybody eating together? And it's like, because Bria is a baby. Like, she's literally a baby. And she's not young. She's like 27 or 28 years old. Girl, you are not 21. There's no reason you should be this bratty. And so Silas, they start playing games and enjoying their toga night. And Silas is like, she shouldn't be by herself. She should come down and join us. Like, I feel bad. And Jasmine's like, I don't care. And I'm with her. I don't care, girl. Like, get it together. Something is always wrong. She had an attitude at dinner. She had an attitude at the club. That she have an attitude. Like, girl, We've been here 7 days. How many days have you enjoyed? You have had a problem every day. So I'm just kind of like, I'm with Jasmine. I don't care, girl. Get it together. We're not going to baby you. But Silas, because I guess he felt, obligated, went to her to talk to her about it. And she starts getting upset. And he was like, you know what? You're very manipulative. I don't know if that's the word he said. Maybe he's a little tipsy. But he said something along the lines of manipulative because he was like, every time we mention this man, you're going to try to accuse us of racism. And that's manipulative because that's a very, harsh term, And she starts getting so mad and she's yelling. She's like, well, you're controlling, which he is. But it's like, girl, you just mad, so now you're calling him controlling. Like, I don't know. I'm not a fan of the tit for tat. Like, just take your due and move on. But she's like, you're controlling and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And now they yelling and arguing and going back. He's calling her manipulative. He's calling her controlling. And that is how the episode ends. Like I said, this show loves to end in the middle of a fight. But then the next episode, it don't even be taking up much of the episode. Like, it'd be like 3 minutes in the beginning and then that issue is over. So I'm like, why do you keep dragging these things on? Just let it end in the episode. But again, this show to me is good. I've been seeing reviews on Reddit and Twitter where people aren't really liking the show. I'm very shocked because I actually find it to be interesting. Again, I don't watch the original Summer House, so I don't have anything to compare it to. But in terms of reality TV, I think it's actually really good. I think it, covers the 30-something Black experience pretty decently. I mean, they could vary the jobs a little bit. I think every female on there is a screenwriter. That's the way it seems, at least. And, well, actually, Jason is a flight attendant, a heterosexual one. And, yeah, so just tell me what you guys are thinking about the show. Like, I need something to interact with. I want you guys to comment. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Tell me what you're thinking about the show. I'm liking it. I know people have differing opinions. But if there's something you don't like, what is it? What is it about the show that you don't like? And what is it that you do? And I hope you guys continue to watch because, I hope they bring it back another season. Maybe, like I said, shake up the cast. But so far, so good on my end. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.